We're joined over the phone by Andrew Murray, Deputy President of the Stop the War Coalition. Andrew, thank you for joining us today. Now, we know that Greece is in financial crisis. How effective can we expect the new cabinet to be?
Well, it faces an enormous challenge, that's clear, and it will probably be sort of squeezed between competing objectives, which is to end the austerity that's brought so much suffering to the Greek people on the one hand, and trying to stay within the euro, which seems to be the preference of most Greek people on the other. I'm sure there's short-term things they can do to ease the pitiful plight of so many Greek people and the suffering that they've been had inflicted on them in short order in relation to electricity bills and welfare payments and so on. But they do face a very big challenge in trying to get the EU, the Troika, with the IMF, the European Central Bank, to ease up on them.
Now, we know that Greece is expected to run out of money by early March as far as the bailout tranche is concerned. Is a Grexit on the cards, perhaps?
Well, it's clearly a possibility, and I think there will be a moment of truth will probably arrive when the new government in Greece will find that it is very difficult to meet the legitimate aspirations of its supporters and the demands of Germany and the EU for further austerity and for sticking to the terms of the bailout. Whether it will arrive in early March, I don't know. I think it's probably no one is going to want to push to a confrontation that rapidly. But I think in the end there will be an issue in that the euro is not really a currency that can meet the needs of all the countries that are presently part of it.
Now, as far as discussions between Greece and the EU, what sort of compromise do you think they may get to? Because we know that Tspiras has said it's unlikely that he'll be able to pay everything off, and at the same time Merkel says that a promise should be kept to.
Well, obviously it's hard to be definite, but it would be quite possible for, in the short term, for the Troika to agree to extending the period of repayments, lowering the interest rates. I think it's also quite possible that the banks who originally made the bad loans to Greece, before the crisis hit, that they could be asked to take a haircut, as it's said, and accept they're not going to get all their money back. So there is scope. I think from the EU point of view, the Troika point of view, the concern is more that if they cut Greece some slack, will Spain, Portugal, Italy, and possibly other countries be far behind. Really, it points to the heart of the crisis that Europe is in the lock of austerity-minded politicians who haven't been able to restore growth since the crash of 2008, who have no strategy apart from imposing misery on their societies. Greece, of course, is in a much worse place than many others, but there's several other countries that are somewhere down the same path. And without a European-wide break with these economics of despair, then the crisis will rumble on. The message from Greece is that the Greek people have clearly had enough, but again, I think there's plenty of other people who would like to give governments the same message.
You mentioned Spain slightly earlier on now. Will Syriza's triumph be a ray of hope for the Spanish party Podemos in the coming elections this year?
Yes, I think it will be. They'll get great encouragement. I think left-wing parties across Europe will be encouraged. I think Podemos is probably unlikely to be in a position quite as strong as Syriza in the sense that it can form a government, and, well, Syriza very nearly on its own. Podemos will probably be having to look at some form of alliances. But, as I said, the economics of despair are leading to the politics of change, slowly but surely, and in one country after another, people are expressing dissatisfaction, not just with the conventional right, the conventional conservatives and the liberals, but also with those social democratic parties that have really failed to stand up for their constituency, for ordinary people, and have gone along with the demand for cuts coming from Brussels and Berlin. And what's happened to PASOK, a party which just a generation or so ago was getting well over 40% of the vote in all elections in Greece, is now reduced to a rump.
Andrew Murray, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us today.